this, nigga.
Euphoria. These Twitter comments be multiplying, I can only watch in silence. The famous actor they all love is returning, now they're smiling. They're moving like a bunch of casuals, their antics are disingenuous. I calculate they're reactionary, their arguments are ridiculous. Make comparisons on the Twitter feed to other Marvel movies. They're pathetic and misguided, no context given or seen. They're not good points, they're just moot points you hope we wouldn't question. Chris Evans played two roles, yes, but different studios you failed to mention. I make points to enlighten them, you make points to befuddle them. I will double down on that line in due time. The video's incoming. Thought you were cooking something, but you made a rancid stew. Since you told some lies about these, time to tell some truths to you.
Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and you know, I'd have thought my last video discussing the topic of Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU playing Doctor Doom would be the only video I would have to make regarding the topic, but apparently not. Because I decided yesterday, after the news really broke and people got some time to digest it, I went to Twitter. And yes, I know that was a big mistake. Why would you ever go to Twitter to have any sort of civil discussion or to hear what people have to say in regards to a topic? This is Twitter, obviously. But I was just curious to see what the reaction was on Twitter. Because I had thought the opinion would be mostly universal that this was a stupid idea, it was a bad decision, and it shows complete and utter desperation from both Marvel Studios and Robert Downey Jr. And I'm glad to say that most of the reactions that I did see on Twitter were that. Most people agreed that this was a stupid-ass idea. And a little addendum, most of the videos here on YouTube also think that it's a really stupid-ass idea. However, as with all topics, there are just a fringe amount of people who are desperately arguing that this is not a bad idea. We will call them MCU apologists, if you will. And some of these responses, they really irked me. One in particular that I'm going to focus on directly was just a comparison between all of these different actors who had played multiple roles in Marvel films and saying, well, if they can do it, how come Robert Downey Jr. can't do it? And the problem that I have with these arguments, and I'm saying arguments like that because they're not really arguments. They're straw mans. And that's the first problem with them. They're just straw man arguments. They're not actually addressing the problem. They're just saying, well, if this guy can do it, why can't this guy do it? They're trying to argue a point that isn't the point that's being argued here. But the biggest problem is that it's completely disingenuous. It is completely disingenuous, and you are trying to be manipulative and you're hiding information. That's one of the things. It lacks context. It lacks context. The pictures that you guys are posting and the comparisons that you're making. They're bad faith arguments. That's what they are. Now, the reason I say that they're straw man is because I feel like people don't understand the issue here. The issue isn't the fact that Robert Downey Jr. is playing another Marvel character. That's not the argument. The argument is Robert Downey Jr. is playing another Marvel character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's not just like some one-off character. It's not a side character. It's not some fucker in the background. He went from being the main protagonist of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That cannot be argued. Iron Man was the main protagonist. You could almost argue that he was the anchor being of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you know, you know. You could argue that he was that. And to have Robert Downey Jr. go from being the main protagonist of a franchise to all of a sudden being the main antagonist of that franchise is stupid. It's a bad idea. And it's going to be completely confusing to a lot of people. If you're not a big fan of these franchises and you only go see Marvel movies occasionally, imagine you walk into a theater, you walk into Avengers Doomsday, and you see freaking Robert Downey Jr., and you're like, oh my god, Tony Stark's in this. Wait a minute, why is he wearing a different mask? Well, who's Doctor Doom? Who's that? Not only that, it's a spit in the face to anyone who's a fan of the Doctor Doom character. And he is an iconic villain with a big fan base. And a lot of people would argue he's probably one of the best villains in the Marvel Universe. That's the argument. That's the problem. Robert Downey Jr. playing the main villain after playing the main hero is bad. It's a stupid idea, and it's completely unfair to rising actors or other actors that could have portrayed the role better. That's the problem. Not, oh, we're not letting Robert Downey Jr. dip his toe twice into Marvel characters. If he was in a Marvel production that wasn't the Marvel Studios, then fine. That's okay. There's no complaints there. But it's the same goddamn universe. And again, not a side character, not a one-off character, the main villain. And an iconic villain nonetheless. That's the argument. And that's what a lot of these Twitter comments fail to recognize or fail to address. The one we're going to talk about in full detail is this picture. Now, as you can see on the screen, I screenshotted this particular tweet which says, funny enough, there are more. Some for upcoming movies and others that are actually from the same movies. Where do I even begin with it? You know what? Let's go down the line. Let's go through each of these images, shall we? Let's start with the top left. So you have Josh Brolin, who had played Cable on the left and Thanos on the right. Now, what's the problem with this? The most obvious one, let's all say it together now. Not the same studio. One more time. Not the same studio. Not the same production. Not the same team. Not the same franchise. Cable was a 20th Century Fox Marvel character. He was in Deadpool 2. He's not in the MCU. He's not been introduced in the MCU. He's a goddamn mutant. Mutants aren't in the MCU. Okay? And the revisionist history on this too, can I just say, a lot of people had a problem with Josh Brolin being casted as Cable because he was already casted as Thanos. I like how this comment or this tweet doesn't address that. Of course it doesn't. It wants to play it quick and fast. You know, what's that? There's a sports show I saw a long time ago where it's like, this guy likes to play fast and loose with the truth. And that's exactly what this guy's doing. He's playing fast and loose with the information. Obviously, we're going to X this one out. This is not a fair comparison to Robert Downey Jr. playing both Tony Stark and Doctor Doom. Again, not the same universe, not the same studio, not the same company, not the same franchise. Yes, same actor playing a Marvel character, not the same universe. So this is a bad faith argument. This is a bad comparison.
Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Editor Tony. Yes, I'm making my first ever appearance in a BCG video. I'm so glad to be here. Anywho, I wanted to take this time because I was editing the video and I came upon the second picture being discussed. And I was sitting there confused because I don't know who the actor is on the left picture, but I know who the actor is in the right picture. So in the right picture, that's obviously Ben Grimes. That's the thing, right? In the 2015 version of Fantastic Four, he was played by Jamie Bell. That's the name of the actor. But the second picture, the one on the left, that doesn't look like Jamie Bell, or at least he doesn't bear any resemblance to him. So I decided I would go and look at Jamie Bell's filmography. Maybe I can find a Marvel movie somewhere in his filmography. And wouldn't you know it? He has not been in any other Marvel movie besides the Fantastic Four. which means that this Twitter user actually made 2 mistakes when he was posting this image. 2. The first one I already addressed in the video. This is actually the second one. So those are not the same actors. They're not the same actors. So his comparison is null and void here, because that's not the same 2 actors. So we're just going to X this out, as it should be. I mean, even if they were the same actors, the point that I made in the video was that they weren't from the same company, obviously. But it doesn't matter if they're from the same company or not. That's not the same actor. Jamie Bell is on the right side. I don't know who that actor is on the left side, because it's not Jamie Bell.
Let's go down. Let's go to the left side. We got Aaron, what's his name? Aaron Johnson? Aaron Taylor Johnson, I think. He's playing both, that's Quicksilver and Kraven the Hunter. Jesus Christ, it's the same bullshit again. Once again, different company. Kraven the Hunter is a Spider-Man villain. He is a Marvel Sony character, not an MCU character. Kraven the Hunter is not in the MCU. Kraven the Hunter is not in the MCU. This is a bad comparison again. If these characters were in the same universe, you might have an argument. But right now, the first 3 pictures we went through, each of them, it's the same thing. Different studio, different timeline, different universe, different team, just completely different. This is a bad faith argument. It's a bad comparison. Let's exit out. Oh, this one's funny. This one is hilarious because this one's hilarious. You know why? Okay, let's talk about it. Mahershala Ali. So that picture with the crown, well, it's actually Biggie with the crown. He's just standing underneath it, is a picture of his character. I forgot what his character's name was, but that was in Luke Cage, which was a Netflix Marvel series. And around this time, Mahershala Ali was kind of working very closely with Netflix, so it made sense that they would try to rope him into one of the Netflix Marvel series. Again, this is before he was casted as Blade, all right? Before he was casted as Blade, before he made really any big splashes as an actor. You know, I mean, he did win an Oscar by the time this series did come out, but he was still a small, little-known actor. And then the next picture next to it. I gotta look at the camera for this one. You know why that picture's funny? That is not a picture of Mahershala Ali as Blade. The guy used that picture thinking that that picture was Mahershala Ali as Blade. And this is why this is a bad argument, and why you can clearly tell these people did not do any research. Because if you just did a little bit of research, that picture that you just used, that's a picture from a movie called Alita Battle Angel, or Battle Angel Alita. I forgot if it's Angel or Alita Battle Angel or Battle Angel Alita, but that's the name of the movie. That's a picture from that movie. That's not only not comparable because, again, not even in the same universe. It's not even from a Marvel, it's not even a Marvel character that you're showing on screen. Embarrassing. And once again, the argument here. This is the closest thing that you can make a case because they're both in the same universe. However, because there was such dysfunctionality between Marvel Studios and Marvel TV, there's a long history about it. I'm not going to go into it here. But there was a big dysfunction between them. So they were kind of in the same universe, but they function differently from each other. They function independently. That's the phrase. They function independently. It wasn't until Daredevil was introduced in Spider-Man No Way Home was the Marvel TV universe really incorporated into the MCU. Because before that, they were never incorporated. The movies never mentioned them. None of the characters ever showed up in them. They were completely independent. And that was the case here. The character he played, he only showed up, I think it's like Satchmouth or something. I forget what it was. But he was only in 4 episodes of the Luke Cage series, and he dies. He dies. He was like a small secondary villain for Luke Cage to have to deal with, and then he was tossed away. So he's not in the MCU anymore. And I think that the problem with this is that this was before, again, Mahershala Ali was such a big, well-known actor. This is 17, 18 when that series came out. So yeah, he wasn't really well-known yet. Yeah, he won an Oscar, but he wasn't a recognizable face. He still wasn't getting a lot of work. So yeah, we can cross this one out as well. A disingenuous argument. All right, next we got Michelle Yeoh. The picture on the left side is a picture from her in Guardians of the Galaxy, I think volumes 2 and 3. And then the next picture is from Shang-Chi. Now, the problem with this picture, again, yes, same universe. However, the picture on the left side, the one from the Guardians of the Galaxy, that was a cameo. It was meant to be just a cameo, a throwaway character, nothing of great significance, nothing truly great. So that's not comparable. Again, the argument that they're making here is that they're characters in the same universe. However, the thing is, guys, it's not like Robert Downey Jr. is going from being the main hero character to some side character in this new series or the new movies. No, he's going from being the main protagonist to the main antagonist. An iconic character nonetheless. What character is Michelle Yeoh playing in both of these pictures? Can you name her? I don't think so. She's not iconic. She's not memorable. Particularly the cameo one. No one really remembers that one. Maybe you can make an argument for Shang-Chi. But this is not a comparable argument. I will not accept that. And speaking of one that's not a comparable argument, this is the next picture. Jemma Chan, who was in the Marvels with her being that blue skin girl. And then also in the Eternals. I forget which character she played in the Eternals. Someone can... I'll put the text right here, what her name is. But once again, the problem with this one is you went from being a secondary character, a small role character, to a main character. She got an upgrade, basically. Because, again, can you even name that character, the one with the blue skin? What's her name? What did she do? What's her most iconic scene from Miss Marvel? Anyone? Can I get an answer in the back? Anybody? Anybody? Can that tell me? What iconic thing did she do? Was she the heart and soul of the MCU? I must have missed that part. Blue skin girl is the heart and soul of the MCU, guys. We can't cast her in anything else. No, again, bad comparison. She went from playing a secondary role, a very throwaway, forgettable role in Miss Marvel, and they brought her back for the Eternals. Now, I will also confess, when they announced Jemma Chan was going to be in the Eternals, I didn't like it because my argument was going to be, well, didn't she already play a character in Miss Marvel? Now, of course, the character dies in Miss Marvel, but I also didn't like that she was playing 2 characters in the same universe. I had a problem with that, me personally. But again, I would argue because she went from a supporting character, a one-note character, or I should say a one-off character, to the main character of a film, completely different. They're not the same as Robert Downey Jr. going from main character status to main character status. Next is, I'm not sure who that is. Jesus, I don't even remember this guy. But I feel like the same thing applies. One-off supporting role to a semi-main role character. So X him out. And then last but not least, we got the lady at the bottom. It's funny. When I saw her in Captain America Civil War, and then I watched Luke Cage, I went, hey, isn't that the same actress? Is she playing the same character as her character from Civil War? And the answer is no, different characters. Here's my thing. Once again, this character, the one on the left side, it's a one-off character. You'll never see her again. She was just there to basically get under Robert Downey Jr.'s skin, or get under Tony Stark's skin, I should say. And that was it. She was a one-note character that showed up in one scene. One. She basically was a glorified extra. That's the truth. She's a glorified extra with some lines. That's all she was. And then she went into main character status in Luke Cage. Again, this one, bad comparison. We're going to exit out. So as you can see in the picture, ladies and gentlemen, none of these examples are comparable to Robert Downey Jr. They're bad faith arguments. They're just bad arguments in general. And this person made so many careless mistakes, especially that Mahershala Ali picture. That's embarrassing. So yeah, I think that these arguments are bad. I think they're done in poor taste. I don't think they have a leg to stand on. They're very poorly constructed arguments and criticisms of people's criticisms of Robert Downey Jr. coming back to the MCU. But I'd love to know what you guys think about these Twitter posts. Do you think that those were strong points? Do you think they were strong examples as to why this is okay? Or did you agree with me and found them all to be bad examples, bad comparisons? Once again, a lot of them were small characters, one-off characters, secondary characters that went into main characters. Whereas Robert Downey Jr., main character, main character. It wasn't a progression up or progression down. It was a line, literally. They weren't the heart of the MCU. Tony Stark was the heart of the MCU. He's the reason the MCU even began. And now you're recasting the heart of the MCU to be the bane of the MCU. No, that's not good. That's terrible. Anywho, let me know your thoughts below. I'll be working on some more videos later on today. I have just been in such a creative renaissance, and I'm loving it. And I'm glad you guys are loving it as well. And until the next video, guys, if you'd like to see more videos of this channel, be a part of the Black Critic Crew, please hit the subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm talking about the second, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, I don't want to hear you say Dr. Doom no more. Robert Downey Jr. shouldn't be Dr. Doom no more. Stop.